Hi everyone, welcome back to my next Graphic 45 brand ambassador project, and it is #keepsake. So it is to use a keepsake kit. So the keepsake kit is basically what we used to call the collector's editions, where they brought back an older collection but given it a little bit of a revamp. So now it becomes more of a kit because you get some double-sided papers. You get some of the patterns and solids. You get some inspiration if you wanted to make one of the cards there. But you also get ephemera pieces. So I've been using this. And you also get some sticker sheets as well. But if you subscribe, you also get an exclusive die set as well. So you can keep this collection going and going and going. So the assignment was to design a project using the keepsake kit. So when I thought this, honey, chocolates, sweets. So I went to Hotel Chocolat, and I love these ones because they're like little beehive shaped chocolates. So I thought this is perfect. And caramel, yes. I did look to see if they had any honey ones. They didn't have anything honey flavoured. Although I think I did find some other things I did taste. So I've taken my research very serious. So I thought, right, these chocolates, let's make something to make these a much more of a gift. So I've come up with this idea of, you know, when you get those boxes of chocolates and you open it up and it's a really sturdy cardboard box. So I've made one which fits these chocolates. But in the tutorial, I will show you how you can make it to fit anyone. I'll give you the directions on how to make it fit anything you want. The only thing you're governed by is the size of your paper. So I've used some of the patterns and solids. I've also used some of the die cuts and some of the stickers to decorate mine. And as I said, I did take my research very, very seriously. So not only did it fit these ones, but I did check. In the shop, you can get these. If anybody wants to buy me some pineapple and yuzu, my favourite. Loving these ones. And if I fold down those pieces, it did fit in as well. Ta-da! And also, so you can get the small chocolates, you get the larger 6-piece chocolates. They also do slabs of chocolate, and these also fit in here. But I think, I didn't buy 2, but I think you can get 2 if you stack one on top of the other. So if you want to be extra extravagant, you can have that. But as I said, it was designed for these ones. So let's poke that in. It slides in like so, and makes a nice gift box. And as I said, it's got this wall, so it's nice and strong. You can feel it is quite a sturdy little box. So grab whatever collection you want, because I think, although I'm using the keepsake, if I hadn't made the keepsake, think of the Spring is in the Air collection. They have these Easter bunny ones. So lovely Easter treat as well. So there we go. My keepsake collection project. Grab your scoreboard and your scissors. You don't need much more than that. And your cardstock and your papers. And let's get going. So ready to begin. So the first thing I'm going to do is measure whatever it is I'm going to wrap. So in my case, these beehive shaped chocolates. So these are 3.5 by 5. So then what I'm going to do is add 7 inches onto each of those measurements. So that means my piece of cardstock now is going to be 12 inches by 10.5. So that's 3.5 inches on each of the 4 sides. So let's just bring in my trimmer and cut it at 10.5. So it's already 12 inches. So the cardstock I've got here is 220 GSM. I didn't want it too thick, otherwise it's going to be really hard to manipulate in the cracking, and it's going to add extra thickness, and I need that 12 inches. So then I'm going to grab my scoreboard and my scoring tool. And the measurements are going to be the same for all 4 sides. So it's going to be at 1/2 inch, half, at 1.5, at 2, and 3. So it's 1/2, 1.5, 2, and 3. So 1/2, 1.5, 2, and 3. I'm going to just keep rotating it. 1/2, 1.5, 2, and 3. So you can see why you needed 7 inches in total, because we're adding 3.5 to each side. Well, we're adding 3 with the score lines. There's 1/2 for the flap, which will come in, which will make sense in a bit. 2 and 3. So all the measurements exactly the same, and you'll end up with this. Looks quite complicated, but actually most of that's going to be cut off anyway. Okay, then with the 10.5 inches on the top, we're going to score at 3.5, past the first score line, and stop at the second one. That's the one which is at 1.5. So we're going to do that at 3.5 inches and 7, just down to the second score line. We're going to turn it round, do the same. So 10.5 on top, at 3.5, just to the second score line, and at 7, down to the second score line. So if I bring it closer, you can see I've come down and stopped there. So I'm going to bring in, let me put that aside for a second. This is what we're aiming for. As you can see, all that complicated score lines over here have all been cut away. So don't panic if it looks a bit complicated. It's actually a lot easier than we had. So these 2 score lines are the ones we came down and stopped at the second score line. And we've just cut a diagonal. That gives us that nice finish to our box there. So let's start cutting. So I'm going to keep this to my side here. And to begin with, we're going to cut down these score lines we did, which stopped at score line 2. And then we're going to come diagonally to this corner. I'm going to do the same here. So you're coming down, then you're going to cut diagonally to there. So let's do that first. It's easier if I turn it around. So we're going down that score line where we stopped. And then I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut towards that little corner. So we're creating like a mitre effect. And again, cut towards that cross. And we need to do that on the other side as well. And across diagonally. And the last one, so we're going to cut down. This is so much easier if you're not trying to get into shot on a camera when the piece is so big. And cut across the diagonal. So those are our first cut lines. Now we're going to cut this wide central part. You can see this bit here. We're going to cut it all the way to that big rectangle in the middle. Just cutting it straight. all the way down on all 4 sides. Turn it around. Let's do it again. And again. Okay. Right. So we've cut here all the way in to the corners of my rectangle along the widest part here. So now you've got a choice. You can just cut this bit off by simply cutting there. That will give you this corner, which is open. If you don't want it open, what you do need to do with these large squares closest to the corner of this big piece is cut a little flap so it's on the short edge. So I'm going to try and figure out which is the best way to do this on camera. Just cut a little flap, and that means then we can use this to hide the corner, because we can actually glue it on like so, so you don't get that gap there. It's up to you. The easiest way is, of course, just to cut it off. If you want to make a flap, and they don't even need to be precise. So in this square, just make a flap. So these big squares then are waste. So let's make another flap here. I said they didn't need to be precise. And now we're just going to burnish each of our score lines. We're just going to roll them all in towards the center. So fold them to the center, fold them to the center, fold them to the center, and this one, there we go. I'll use my burnishing tool in a second. So fold them towards the center of my box. And then just going to burnish each one at a time. You don't need to be pressing too hard. It's not like a flap in your albums or anything. We're only after like a 90-degree fold. There we go. So you'll see how the box will come together now. We're just going to fold these flaps in as well. And I've got some double-sided tape, which I'm just going to put. So I folded them in and I put in the tape on that edge. So fold them in. So you think you do need them to come onto that bit there. So that's the side we can put the glue on. And on the last one. Here we go. Okay. So, before I start gluing it together, I want to show you the idea behind this. Now, on the end, you may wonder why we've got this little extra ½ inch. Well, that is going to be our guide for sticking it down. So, I move these flaps out of the way. When we fold it, bring that one out of the way as well. When we fold it, it's going to curl in on itself there and stick down. So, when I'm folding it, I'm actually going to pull this out of it, because if I tuck it in like so, you sort of lose it when you come to put it down. So by doing it like that, what's going to happen is you're going to come down and you're going to just sort of brush it till it locks and then press down. So that is the idea behind it. So you wrap it over and you hold it in place and then place it down. So I'm going to add some of my tape to this edge and to this edge and to this one and this one. Okay, so if you remember, we're going to pull this out so that when we put it down, it's actually locking into that corner there. But before we start, we're going to take off this one and we're going to just glue that corner in place. There we go. So that is now stuck there. And I'm going to do the opposite side of the long one here, because we're going to do those ones first. So now, if I fold these out the way, you don't need to do that, it's just for you to see. I'm going to take this off. There we go. And let's see if I can get this on camera. So it's folded out with me so that when I bring it in, it's now going to lock into there. This is so much easier to do when you're not trying to get onto the camera. And I can feel it lock there. There we go. So now that is 1/2 inch there. And we're going to do the same on the other side now. So we're going to take off the small tab, put it in place. I'm going to take off this tab and stick that into place. And now take off this long one, pull it out, there we go. And then so just tuck it in. I can feel it lock in place. And now I'm just going to press it down. There we go. And just for this bit now, I'm going to put a little bit of glue just on these triangular bits here. Not too much. Just so they stick onto that. Okay. And now we're going to do exactly the same. I'm going to take off this tape. I'm going to press it on. I'm going to tuck it inside there and press it down. And now I'm going to bring this in so the glue will capture. Bring it in. There we go. And then have that glue catch there. And you can see the difference now between the first one I did, which had the open corners. Now it's all hidden because we glued those tabs in place. And just have one more to do. There we go. And just hold that glue in place. I'll just put a little bit more glue on this one. There we go. There we go. Just hold it in place for a little second. And by doing that, if I show you the other side, what we do have are these lovely mitered corners. And you've got a nice, strong box, which is going to protect your chocolates nicely, like so. Let me take it. Oh, I hadn't waited it for it to dry. So let me just... I suppose some glue on it if that double-sided has dried a bit. I think what I've done, I haven't quite trimmed this corner enough on that score line. That's where, now it's perfect. There we go. Excellent. Okay, so that is my box already made. So what I'm going to do now is create the wrap for it. So again, I'm going to grab my cardstock. I'm going to measure my box. So don't do this to a specific measurement, just in case this has gone a little bit odd. So it's just a fraction over 6, but I'm pretty accurate this time. So I'm just going to go to 6, but just go a little hair's breadth longer. Okay. And what I'm going to do first is, the box is 4, just over 4, so I'm going to score it at 2, which is just less than halfway, just so I've got a starting position for wrapping. Because what I'm going to do is actually use the box itself to measure this wrap, rather than measurements. So that's the bottom of the box. So I'm going to place it in, so I'm tucking it into where that score line was. I'm going to grab my pencil and I'm going to mark the top and the bottom. Now, being a pencil, it means it's given me a slight bit of leeway here, because the cardstock would have been here, but with the thickness of pencil, it's come across just a tiny bit, which means that should be a nice tight fit. So I'm going to use the last line of my scoreboard, because it might not be a perfectly straight line to use the top of the board. I'm just going to join them up and score it. So you're working around. If this has gone off a little bit, you should be okay. So now that has wrapped into there. So I'm going to place it down, try and line it up as best as I can. Get my pencil in there and there. And I'm going to join those two score lines up. See, right now, that one is perfectly in the middle. This is actually off a little bit, so I'm going to adjust for that. So now we've gone from the bottom around. We've got to here. Just tuck it right in. Get my pencil marks and use that last channel on my scoreboard, and then score. And what I'll do then is I'm going to put my double-sided on the edge of the short flap I started with, and the edge of this one. There we go. And what that means then, I'm going to get both edges tucked, but of course I want to do it wrapped around this, so I get it nice and tight. So let's take that one off, take this one off, and wrap it nice and tight, and press it down. And now I've got my gift box for my chocolates, really nicely constructed. It's really strong. It's got a nice wrap to it. Oh, I have to adjust that again. And it's all in place now, ready to get my papers on. So to decorate mine, I've gone for some of the yellower papers. So I know I'm going to put my size. I'm going to be using, from the Patterns and Solids, the plain yellow. You've got the honeycomb shape on the back. And because I've gone for yellow there, I've decided to partner it on the top using this one. We've got the journal cards. So I've cut out a journal card ready, which again, use the same paper. And of course, you've got your ephemera, you've got your stickers as well you can use. But I think as well, I am going to use some of the dies that come in the exclusive kit. So if you have got the subscription one, you can use those on this as well. Right, so let's put it aside. And let's bring, oh, I don't want to put it aside, I actually need it, don't I? So we're going to start off. So the measurements might be slightly different for you, depending on how tight you've done your corners and things. So it's better, rather than follow my dimensions, is to work out your own. So mine is 6, and it is just over 4.5. So I'm going to count it as 4.5. So 6 by 4.5. So what I'm going to do is take off the title strip first. So it was 6, wasn't it? 6 across. So I'm going to come back just an 1/8 today. And it was 4.5, which is there. So I'm just going to come back 1/8. So 16th is the tiny ones. The 1/8 is the sort of middle sized one. So you can see I'm not using much. I'm just going to take some. Oh, let's just make sure it fits. So we've got a little small black border. Just going to take my black soot distress ink around the edge. And then, I mean, I could use the 6 because this is the right width. I can come straight down. But I'm going to swap to the plain yellow just because I'm going to use my die cuts. So this should be about 1 inch. It's just slightly over 1 inch. So I'm going to call it 1 inch. So here's 1 inch. I'm going to come back just slightly and take it off the bottom because the width was just under 6, wasn't it? Let's just double check. Yes, just an 1/8 less. So there's one. There's another one. And hopefully now these are going to be just right for our bees from our die cuts to go on. Let's just ink it up. And let's ink the other one. So just getting rid of that white edge that we have when we've cut papers. There we go. Let's just put the lid on before I put my hands into it. And now I can put glue on quite a bit of this, but what you can do is just put some on your hand, and these fine bits, you just need to dab on like so, and you'll get coverage onto there. But this is a dry, clear glue. So if I do smudge a bit, it should be okay. Now then, let's have a look. There we go. Make sure his wing is down. That actually fitted rather nicely. So again, just going to rub some glue onto my hand and just sort of dunk my bees in. And we're going to place this one now onto this one. It's too far right. Let's just bring it back a touch. There we go. And just get a bit more glue towards the end. There we go. So those are going to be the sides of my box. So I'm going to leave them just dry for a second. And now this is the top. So we're just going to decorate this now. Of course, it's up to you now how you want to decorate. Let's have a look at what we've got. Let's open the stickers. I haven't even tried these yet. So we've got a nice black buzz board. Oh, and we've got this one's nice. So I think I'm going to go with this. Let's stick this. Oh, there's two separate parts. Let's place this across the bottom first then. Take my scissors. And of course I can keep this for another project, or I can actually do what I'm going to use it on the top just so it balances things out. And because our piece of paper is less than 6 inches and these stickers are 12 inches, I can get both out of the one strip and then just try and mask that black out the white edge again. There we go. So make sure it's the right way up because we do have some text. Let's have a look. What image were we going to use? This one, doesn't it? So let's have a look. Yeah, it needs a bit more, so let's use this one as well. So I'm just pressing it down onto it. There we go. Let's do it on the top as well. So we've used the stickers. We've used a journal card. So I think what I'll do, I'll put the journal card onto a piece of foam, I think. Oh, that way round. So that it comes up a bit, I think. So let's get some of my black cardstock and my trimmer, and it's a 3x4. So I'm just going to go 3 1/8 by 4 1/8, which is just slightly bigger. Let's have a look there. I think because it's got a black border, I'm going to go down a little bit more. It's just a bit too much black for me today. So it's 3 1/16 this time. And 4 1/16. Let's have a look. That's better. So let's glue this on. And some foam pads, but I'm not going to stick it down quite yet. I'm going to see if there's anything else I want to do to it. So I'm just going to create the composition with all the foam pads and things with the backing paper on it already. So there we are. So we've got that going on the side. So we need some. So let's have a look. If we look on the back here, we do have that, maybe a little sentiment. Be yourself. That could be quite nice. The long, it looks quite long. So we've got be kind as a tag. But if it's a gift, I don't think you want to say be kind to you. Oh, let's have, oh, I quite like that. But then it's hiding that and it's hiding that. It would have been lovely, I think, if with something else. Not quite for this one. Or if we were going, oh, if we didn't have that, you could have a vertical one. So what have we got? Let's have a look. So we could put another stamped image. But it was a sentiment we were looking for, wasn't it? Be yourself. Let's not lose that. Or let it be. Well, life is beautiful. That's quite nice. It's typical, I can't find the be yourself one. Ooh, be beautiful like that. No. Let's stick to that one then. Oh, here we are. Here's the be yourself. Is it too black on black? Actually is, even though this wasn't one I was intending. I was thinking of that one. I'm changing my mind. So I can put my ephemera pieces away. Right. So let's start decorating then. So let's put the big one on first. So I've still got my tray inside, so it's giving me a bit of support there. Let's put on the two sides. And on this one. So that's the base all covered. Make sure I nearly put it on upside down. Now I can take these off. And oh, that's already off. So you can, if you just want to make sure, because it's going to be handled a lot, just put a little blob of glue onto these. And place it on there. And then with this, if I turn it upside down, I know I'm going to need foam pads from there on. So if I do this, it should be a case of I don't have it where I don't want them. And then from this side, it'll be glue. So what I've created is height by here, but sticking onto that. So we're not going for double height here. I think that would just be a bit too much. Life is beautiful. So as you can see then, I've got the foam pads there, but glued on there. And there we have our special design. Oh, you can cover that side as well. Should we do that? We do have more of the yellow left. So that was 1 inch, if I remember right. So just going down 1/8. Yeah, so just a fraction less than an inch. And the height of it was 4.5, if I remember right. 4.5, yeah. So 4 3/8. So 4.5, 4 3/8. 4 3/8. So again, let's ink the edge. Now what you could do is put a brad or something in the middle of this. In fact, do you know what? I think I have got one. Did I bring my brads? Got the metal screw ones. I don't think that's quite going to... Is that going to go with them? So then the brad you could put in, and it's sort of like a little hole. Do you know what? I'll go with it. Let's just mark halfway. So 2 1/4 is here. Halfway. There we go. Of course, I would have probably chosen a better suited brad if I'd actually planned on this, but that's unplanned. There we go. So because I have got the brad, I am going to put some tape, some double-sided tape on this as well, just to hold that down. And some glue. Let's put that on. I mean, you could just use a piece of ribbon, or in fact, with my other one, I haven't actually put anything on it. It just, because you can just push it out with your finger, that like so. And then the last piece, just to finish it off. Like so. Well, there we go. Now we have our box. So let's wait for that to dry, which we can put our chocolates in. So that's the one I measured it for. Let's just double check. So yeah, those little rabbit ones fit in as well. And let's just check the slab one. So, oh, I think I could actually fit 2 of those in. So yeah, so it does fit the whole range of the Hotel Chocolat chocolates. So there we go. So let's put the ones which inspired, which was these salted caramel ones. We can put it inside. Will fit. There we go. Place inside. So that is my Let It Be Keepsake project completed for you. So we've decorated it using the main papers, the patterns and solids, the die cuts, and some of the stickers as well. And a lovely little way, which hasn't used that much of my products. I've still got enough papers that I could make a second one of these without cutting into any other sheets of paper. I've still got another journal card I could use, plenty more ephemera, and of course the die cuts you will never run out of, because you can just cut more and more. And of course you've got a choice of them as well. I mean, that would be nice, having lots of the bees flying as well. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed, and hope you can see how you can adapt this to whatever size you want, to go with whatever treats you want to give as a gift, and a lovely way of just making it look a little bit more special. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please leave me a comment in the description below. I'd love to hear what you think of it. So thank you very much, and I'll see you all again soon.